Alright, so the number of rabbits in a national park is observed for 1 year. At any time t months after observation begins, the number is modelled by the function where p is in thousands. So let's just go through and highlight the key information at any time t months. So we've got that. The number is modelled by the function where p is in thousands. And we've got our function here. Let's go through and write out key information. So we have t equals time in months. P equals population in thousands. And of course we've got our formula up here. Now what I also recommend that you do when you're dealing with a problem that has a formula or an equation or for a function, what I do recommend you do is that you just sketch a graph on your CAS calculator just so that you know what roughly it's going to look like. And that can assist you out with doing some of the questions. Alright, so just move this one here. Alright, now remember when you do put this into your CAS calculator that you need to make sure you put in X, not T, because the calculator will not recognise T. And of course you'll need to adjust the window settings so that it comes up nicely. Alright, so the first question says find the maximum number of rabbits. Okay, so max number of rabbits is equal to your C value plus your amplitude. So therefore it's equal to 2 plus your amplitude being 0.8. Therefore you get 2.8. Therefore the maximum number of rabbits is 2,800 rabbits. Right, the minimum number of rabbits that's equal to your C value minus your amplitude. So that means 2 minus 0.8 is equal to 1.2, therefore 1,200 rabbits. And your median value is equal to just your C value, which is equal to 2, therefore 2,000 rabbits. Alright, the next question says find the period and the amplitude of the function. So let's go through and find the period. So we'll go B over here, find the period. So period is equal to 2 pi on B. Alright, your 2 pi on B, which is your B value up here at the top, pi on 6. Right, because I've substituted a fraction in for the bottom part for B, I can actually use the Big Mac fraction thing where I do 6 times 2 pi over pi, which is equal to 12 pi on pi, which of course the pi's cancel out to leave us with 12 months. So the period therefore is 12 months. The amplitude, well, we can just get that from the function. So the amplitude is just the number at the front of the sign. And remember, you can't have a negative amplitude, it's always positive. So therefore amplitude is equal to 0.8. The next one says sketch the graph of the function. Alright, well we know that the graph needs to look sort of like the picture that we've just got up the top here. Alright, but what we need to do is actually sketch it out using all of that information. So come along and I draw my two axes. Right, this is population in thousands and this is time in months. Okay, we know that the period is 12 months, so I just do 12 at the end. Alright, and of course when I do sine cos graphs I need to go through and divide it into 2, giving us 6 months, and then I go halfway in between those, giving us 9 months and 3 months. Alright, I know that my lowest value is going to be 1.2, so I'll go basically have 1 there, 2 there, 3 there. My lowest value is 1.2 and my highest value is 2.8, so let's just put those in here. 1.2 and 2.8. Okay, now my median value is at C, is at 2. My lowest value is at 1.2 and my highest value is at 2.8. Okay, helps if you draw those lines in because you can then use that as a reference point. Alright, so I know it's a sine graph, so it starts off at its mean value. Alright, and it will finish off at its mean value after 12 months. Also, because it's a sine graph, it's going to go, and it's negative, so it's going to go down to start off with, and then it's going to come back to the middle halfway through. Now, because it's going down, it reaches its minimum value after 3 months, and it will reach its maximum value after 9 months. You can see now these dots, so what I recommend you do is just join them up. And you get the function that you need to sketch. Now note that this function here looks very similar to the function up on the screen, so therefore I must have it right. Okay, the first question says sketch the graph of, the first question now says find the population after 5 months. So I know P equals 0.8 sine pi t on 6, and I know that the time is equal to 5 months, so all I need to do is substitute t equals 5 in. So get P is equal to 2 minus 0.8 sine pi times 5 over 6, which gets you t 2 minus 0.8 sine of 5 pi on 6. Now, I know that 5 pi, let's go through and actually draw out the unit circle. 0 pi and then 2 pi. Now 5 pi on 6 is just a little bit less than pi, so it's going to be in the second quadrant, and we know that all stations to Croydon means that sine will be positive. Okay, so that is the same as saying 2 minus 0.8 sine pi minus pi on 6. Now because sine's going to be positive, that's the same as saying 2 minus 0.8 sine of pi on 6. Alright, so let's go through that and do that now. Sine of pi on 6, we need to use the special triangles. 1, 2, root 3, pi on 3, and pi on 6. So special triangles for sine of pi on 6, you got opposite being 1 and hypotenuse being 2, so that's 1/2. So you get 2 minus 0.8 sine of pi on 6 is equal to 1/2. So therefore you get 2 minus 0.4, which is equal to 1.6. Therefore, after 5 months, we have 1,600 rabbits. Alright, part E now says for how long is the population below 1,600? So we'll do part E up here. So we know that P is equal to 1,600. Alright, well let's go through and substitute that into the formula now. So you get 1,600 is equal to 2 minus 0.8 sine pi t on 6. Alright, actually it won't be 1,600, it'll be 1.6, so just rub that out. Because remember it's in thousands, so we'll just rub that out. We got 1.6 is equal to 2 minus 0.8 sine pi t on 6. Okay, subtract the 2 gets us negative 0.4 is equal to negative 0.8 sine of pi t on 6. Alright, divide by negative 0.8 gets you 1/2 is equal to sine of pi t on 6. Want to get the t on its own, so we're going to do the inverse of sine. So pi t on 6. And we know that the inverse of sine is equal to the inverse of sine of 1/2 will get us, if we look over here, will get us pi on 6 in the first quadrant. Right, because we got that information from this triangle that we've just drawn out before. So we know that in the first quadrant you get pi on 6 for 1/2. Alright, but we know that in fact sine has got two values that will give us 1/2, positive 1/2, and that's in the first quadrant because all stations to Croydon, and the second quadrant because its sign is positive. So we need to find it in the second quadrant as well. So we've got pi t on 6 is equal to pi on 6, and of course pi minus pi on 6. Pi on 6, and you've got 6 pi on 6 minus pi on 6, which gets you 5 pi on 6. Alright, let's go through now and get t on its own, so we need to multiply by 6 first. So you get pi t is equal to 6 pi on 6 and 30 pi on 6. Alright, that cancels down, the 6's go away, so you get it's equal to pi and 5 pi. Divide now by pi, so you get t is equal to pi on pi, which is 1, and 5 pi on pi, which is 5. So therefore, it's after the first and fifth month, you got 1600. So after the first month and the fifth month, actually, the first month will be here because it's half. The fifth month is around about here. You've got 1600. So therefore, we're going to go 5 minus 1 is equal to 4 months. So for 4 months, the population is below 1600 rabbits. Alright, now we'll go through and find out how long the population is above 2100. So we've got part F, population above 2100. So we go 2100 is just equal to 2.1 is equal to 2 minus 0.8 sine pi t on 6. Alright, so therefore minus a 2, so you get 0.1 equals negative 0.8 sine pi t on 6. Divide by negative 0.8 gets you negative 0.125. Right, we want to find out the sine value that will give us a answer of negative 0.125, so we go sine inverse is equal to pi t on 6. Make sure, of course, that your calculator is in radians. So when you put that into the calculator, you get 0.1253 in first quadrant. Now, I know that it's negative, so therefore I need to find out where sine's negative, which would be down here. So you've got all stations to Croydon, so therefore it's going to be pi plus 0.125. And 2 pi minus 0.125. Alright, so do that now. That gets us 3.267 and 6.158. Okay, and that there is equal to pi t on 6. Multiply both of them by 6 now. Gets us 19.602 and 36.9471 is equal to pi t. Divide both by pi now. Gets us time. So therefore you get 6.23. So after 6.23 months and 11.76 months, the population is above 2100. Alright, so let's find the top difference in time now. So you go 11.76 minus 6.23 is equal to time above. That therefore is equal to 5.53. So therefore the population is above 2100 for approximately 5.5 months.